Okay.
Well, hello everybody. This is Chad, and I've got the pleasure to have my friend Jennifer Batten um, on, and she's come up with this very cool new um, guitar cloud symposium, and it's going to be some high caliber players being able to teach you. But enough about me. Let's get Jennifer on, and we'll let her talk about her brainchild. There we go. Welcome, and thank you for coming on, and thank you for taking some time. And I remember, well, why wouldn't I remember? But you had you on with several female guitarists, and we had that round table that was. I really enjoyed it, and I would like to do it again. Maybe we can, schedule that later on when you're done with this symposium. So.
Yeah, I'm not scheduling anything till that's done, man. That's a whole lot. There's a whole lot to
So
get ready for Friday.
So before we get into that, how how much time have you put into this in the last few months? What we've been, on sequester with COVID.
I would say all of it,
Yeah.
all of the time that there is. Yeah, I wake up in the morning and then there's emails and posts and so many little details. I mean, it's like launching a new business, really. So there's things that adults do, responsible adults that I'm actually doing that I've never done before. But it's I am the head of it, but to have the three other women that are involved really takes a lot off my plate because we're all busy getting our individual courses together, and it's not like I'm going to be on the camera the whole time. So it's almost like I kind of think of it as a band as opposed to a solo act because there's a certain energy there with different entities involved that just takes it to a whole other level.
So do tell us who you've got who you got planned and where their points are and what they're going to discuss.
Yeah, I'll start with the acoustic player, Vicki Genfan. Um, we were on a record together that's on Steve Vai's label that was all women years ago that called La Guitarra, which should probably be pronounced La Guitarra. Got to roll them R's. And you know, I have a short attention span, just like everybody else. It's just like Facebook squirrel, and I'm gone down the rabbit hole. And we ended up doing a NAMM show. There was I think it was Muriel Anderson's thing that she does annually, and they had several of us from the record on. And at sound check, I remember I did my sound check and I was walking past the stage, and all of a sudden I heard this playing that was super percussive and tapping, and I think she sang on top of it, and I go, oh my God, this girl has the complete package. It's innovative, very original, very grooving, and we just kind of bonded over NAMM. And after that, we ended up touring several times. I bought a motorhome and ended up doing New York to the Florida Keys with her at least once. And we did a tour of the Czech Republic another time. So I know she's good people. So
Yeah.
there's nothing like spending time on the road with people to know where they're really at. Because sometimes the coolest people turn into whiners on the road, or you never know. Um, so she's very prolific. She's got, I think, 7 courses out on truefire.com and several CDs out. Gretchen Menn is another one that she's been touring America for years, and other countries as well, with a Led Zeppelin tribute called Zepparella. But she's really diverse. She's got the Jimmy Page thing, but her last record is it's not your average guitar record where it's, hi, here's track 1, here's me shredding. Here's track 2, here's me shredding again.
Yeah.
It's very thoughtful, very orchestrated, and it really gives you a lot of ear candy. So I'm real happy to have her on board. And all of us have taught. We've all had recording experience, stage experience for many years, and teaching. So that's prerequisites to be part of this thing. And Nili Brosh, the first time I saw her play, she was playing with Tony McAlpine, and pretty much any guitar player that can step on stage with him has got to be scary,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, those chops are beyond where I've ever been. But she's great, very innovative and extremely talented. And I think she's the youngest one of the crew. She's got courses out, several records. She breaks down her CDs in some of the courses. And what's not to love? And last year, I toured with Gretchen and Nili. We did some dates on the West Coast. So they were the first ones I thought of when I came up with this idea of doing the symposium. And they all said yes. So, and the rest is history. Then I had to learn how to build a website and tear my hair out.
You know, you could have called me.
I wish I called somebody, because I use that the software Bandzoogle that's supposed to be really intuitive and is designed for bands to sell your music and all that. And just getting the cover photo to fit was absolute hell. And they don't have any kind of tutorial. I mean, as far as something you can read, you have to go through video after video after video and hope you find the answer and go to tech help. And it's like, you know, I think a website should be done in one day. Here's all the graphics, plug it in, go. But that's not the case.
No,
I mean,
no.
now.
Squarespace doesn't pay me, but I've been using Squarespace for all of my stuff. And, you know, next time you ever do something, hit me up. I'll help you, and we'll get it. We'll bypass all that trouble.
Man, anybody can take trouble out of my life. Sign me up.
So when does it start, and when do you have to get people to sign up? Some more people to sign up for it. You'd like some more people to sign up for it.
Sure.
When does it start?
It starts next Friday, August 7th, and it's 4 days. On Friday, everything's in Pacific time. We're starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's still going to be late in Europe, but I'm hoping that if people are working in America, people will be home on the Pacific coast. And the Friday night is kind of an orientation Q&A, just for a couple hours. And then Saturday and Sunday, we just hit with content. And I designed it like TED Talks, TED.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Yeah, it always amazes me when people aren't hip to TED Talks, because it's so great, where everybody that talks, whether it's a rocket scientist, musician, somebody that's just invented a new vaccine, they basically tell everything they've got to tell in under 20 minutes, which is, you know, they have to, they have a timer they're looking at, so they have to rehearse the hell out of it to compact things and not go off on tangents. So it seemed like I'm very aware of the short attention span that we all have, because I have it. So,
me too.
You know, where each of us could take any of our subjects and go on for 2 hours, we're nailing it down to 20 minutes. So everybody gets a lot of content. We want to inspire people with new techniques, and each of us, we're very different players. So we started doing Zoom calls months ago, and I said, write down 10 things that you really enjoy teaching. So from the 10, we had to whittle it down to 6. So each hour, there will be 3 subjects of 20 minutes each, followed by a half-hour Q&A, little break, and then the next person goes. And Vicki Genfan is into all kinds of holistic training. So 2 people will go, and then she's going to do a kind of a body break to, you know, get people to move so you can actually input some more information.
Yeah, sitting there is not conducive to focus.
Yeah, you got to break it up. Wow, it's funny you should say that, because the very first thing I'm going to teach on Saturday is brain science, because I've learned in the last few years the most efficient way to learn things, which is not how I've been learning it for many years, and it's really changed my practice habits. So so Saturday and Sunday we're doing that, and then the Monday night there's going to be more Q&A and a cocktail party celebration kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm testing this out. I think until there's 5G and everybody's got great internet speed, we can't play together where there's not some kind of latency. So plus it would be impossible to play when I got 20 or 30 people, trying to play at once. It would be a cacophony. So I'm going to try this virtual jam kind of thing where I'm trading fours with people. I'll play 4 and then I'll comp, and everybody will be at home playing in real time, but it's just I won't hear them and they won't hear each other.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Part of this is an experiment, and the Monday night I really want to get feedback. What did people dig? What did they not dig? And have this an ongoing thing. We'll probably do another one in October because there's a whole lot of guitar players in the world to tap.
Oh, yeah.
TrueFire.com, well, they merged with, was it Jam Play? I could be wrong. There's a couple jam things. I could get the name wrong. But, I mean, it's like 500,000 subscribers, all guitar players that want to learn. So I think there's more people to tap out there that would really dig this.
Well, yeah, for sure. And, you get some one-on-one, time, and, well, a small group of people learning from you, and you're going to be able to give them feedback, and I would assume.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we can answer the questions for
well,
sure.
That's what I mean. Feedback on, they can ask questions, and you'll be able to, answer the questions live. So,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So after brain science, what do you plan on getting into on yours?
After that, I get into an app that I think every musician should be born with because it's so heavy and so helpful. It's called Transcribe. And I've been using it for years. And I used it for several years without reading the manual. And then when I read the manual, I go, oh my God, this is like the greatest, most patient coach for learning music that you can imagine. And it does so many more things. Like probably most musicians have some kind of a slow downer on their phone, but they don't even make it for your phone because they know you need the whole screen to be able to really zone in and make maybe a 4-bar loop perfectly so it doesn't have a hiccup. And you can really dive into a tune like a forensic scientist and remove the bass or accent frequencies that you really need to hear. You can do karaoke mode where you get rid of the center track. It takes it out of phase. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. There's a speed trainer. So for instance, you could set it to do a loop starting at 50% speed. And every time the loop comes around, it can bump up 1% speed, which you don't even feel until it gets to the top of your chops. And then you need to keep it there until you get enough repetitions to take it a little faster. So I turn everybody onto that. Then I'm doing a thing on the tremolo bar.
Yeah.
The whammy bar and the whammy pedal, because I use them both a lot. And I find it can just help your expressiveness with guitar, with music, like no other. Because I think ultimately we all want to be singers. And for instance, me, you don't want to hear that. I'll clear the room in a heartbeat.
Me too.
So I'm trying to make up for it with the bar. Then I get into some intervallic playing to rather than doing seconds and thirds, which is normal music to our ears, doing bigger skips that just kind of opens up your ears to more possibilities.
Well, I think as musicians, I think hearing somebody do something that you hadn't thought of or that's a little different, it opens. You may not necessarily copy that, but it may add something to what you currently are learning. Then it's easier to integrate and all that. So I think learning all sorts of new things is really very, very good. So
yeah, and you never know what is really going to launch somebody in a new direction, because years and years ago, I went to a guitar symposium that Musicians Institute put on. And I had no intention of joining the school at that time, but by the time the weekend was over, I did a test to get into the school. And also in teaching, I was talking about this, I think yesterday or the day before. When I first met Jeff Beck, I asked him, I had learned every solo on 2 of his records. And I asked him to play this tune called Blue Wind. And he started playing it. And I mean, just seeing it for 10 seconds blew my mind, because although I had been playing the right notes, I wasn't using the nuance that he used. And that was just like, oh, holy shit. Now it sounds like what you're doing.
And then you're going to do your Q&A, and then on Sunday you take up the tail end and you talk about chord melody 101. That's what you're going to do on Sunday.
Yeah. I actually forgot that was in there, and I changed what I'm doing now.
Okay, so what are you doing?
It's like Gretchen is dealing with chord melody kind of stuff. Well, the last one I'm going to do is a chops builder.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to turn people on to, when I was at guitar school, I think I was the slowest player in the whole class. And after the school was over, I set out specifically to work on speed. And when you improve as a musician, you don't really realize how much you're improving day by day, because it's just like little bit, little bit, little bit. But with speed, you can actually break it down in a chart where you can see the arpeggios or the scale patterns that you're playing with a metronome. And man, my progress in a month just went from here to here. As long as you play it as fast as you can play it without making a mistake, and then you keep improving. If you make a mistake, then you back down the tempo so you're not screwing up. But it's a really encouraging method to get your speed a little faster.
Well, very nice, very nice. So there's a little taste of what we've got in store. If you guys want to go over to guitarcloudsymposium.com, correct?
That's it. We all play guitar. We're going to meet in the cloud, and it's a symposium. I kept thinking of names for the school, and I kept coming back to that because it describes exactly what it is.
Well, yeah, it's good. It's easy to remember. So you just want to make sure we cover everything. Well, so do you have? Can you tell everybody what it costs to take part?
Yeah, it's $349. We had a discount that just went up August 1st. I probably should dig into a little bit of the course subjects that other people are doing as well.
Yeah, no, I was respecting your time, but if you want to go talk longer, I got plenty of time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with coffee. I just keep laughing.
So let's go ahead and go on with Vicki on the Saturday. What she's going to get into percussive techniques.
Yeah, a lot of people are really into that, and it's pretty exciting. You can take the one-man band thing to the next level rather than just strumming chords and singing. If you can work it out where you can make a groove by tapping the body of the guitar in different parts, it's a really exciting thing, and she's really good at it. So that's one of the things she's going to get you into. Rut busting is a creativity exercise. One of the most common thing that you hear from students is, "Oh, I'm so sick of my playing. I just keep playing the same thing over and over." Yeah, well, it's common. Yeah. And so she's got exercises to break you out of that. So the cool thing about all these other modules that are being taught is I get to watch what's going on too. We all want to learn from each other and get inspired. She's really into open tunings. She uses 37 open tunings, which I can't fathom.
I can't even fathom the single tuning that I do.
Yeah, that's a lifetime for me, for sure. So she's doing an introduction to open tunings, creative arrangement for accompanying vocals, which is a whole other skill. And rhythm chops, that's another level. Whole body rhythm exercises you can do in your practice routine to improve rhythm, because it's one thing to slap your guitar and it's another thing to groove.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
if you
think
got
that,
people popping and then you're
I think that if you've ever seen the movie The Jerk from
Yes.
Steve Martin, that's me. I got no rhythm.
Okay. And then goals and visions for your practice routine, because a lot of people will say, I don't know what to practice. I sit down and I do the same old thing and I don't know what to practice. So that's a whole other thing. Gretchen's getting into connecting chord voicings. And I kind of encouraged her to go this direction, because I looked at her resume, and she used to be a commercial pilot, which is really unusual for a guitar player. And I was making the promo video for this, and I put pilot in there, and she goes, well, that's not really anything to do with music. I think you should take that out. But I said, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, it's another part of the story. And so now she's doing a module on what guitar players can learn from pilots, because pilots have to be extremely disciplined. You can't just, crawl out of your cave and start driving a plane. You know?
Yeah, right.
You have to have a checklist. You have to have safety precautions, on and on. So I'm curious to see what she's going to teach about that. Imitation to expression, the importance of writing and writing techniques. That's something that's dear to my heart. Imitation, that's a great way to learn. I mean, even when you're jumping in a cover band, you're essentially imitating 40 different guitar players and trying to dial in the sounds of 40 different guitar players. So imitating and then turning that into your own thing is an art form in itself. Let's see. Harmonics, she's got a great video online. You can see on her YouTube channel where she's doing these beautiful, as soon as I'm saying that, I always have these two ideas that are trying to funnel out the same space, and they often collide and nothing comes out. What she does, harp style harmonics that are just gorgeous, and the sound effect, the reverb that goes with it is just phenomenal, inspiring. And she started out with classical guitar, so she's going to do classical techniques that are not for classical music. Yeah, so you're working on that right hand for other kinds of music, making more colorful chords and progressions from a basis of triads and voice leading. And then Nili Brosh and I are both doing courses on tapping. At first, all of us were going to do tapping, and we were going to make it a group course, and then it just kind of morphed over time. And so I think Nili and I both have a very different approach to it.
Different approach, so that you both can add something to that may appeal to one or the other, or add
Sure.
to each other. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, and honestly, if we have overlap, I see that as a real benefit, because hearing things from two different people said in two different ways, it just locks it into your brain much better. So she's going to get into adding chromatics to your playing, which I'm excited about because I've been really working a lot on that lately too. Fretboard theory for people that are not deep into that. And I have a feeling her most popular module is going to be on performance psychology, because everybody knows what it's like to have stage fright. And there may be students coming that never got on a stage because they're too scared to. So that's a whole other thing.
One of the first times that I sang live,
yeah,
and played live, I was so nervous. It was with a friend of mine, Robbie Laws. You know Robbie?
Sure.
I had a little thing. We had a whole group of people, and he was the backup band, and I was so nervous that I had vibrato I never knew I had. I sounded like B.B. King. I was like, wow, at least I pulled off B.B. King. At least a little bit. So
Yeah.
being nervous is uh, um, that's hard to deal with, and trying to get yourself out of that. I mean, I think that would be a very valuable
Oh, yeah.
bit of a module there you've got. So
It reminds me of a story. When I was 18, I gave a concert for my friends, and I had worked on the tunes. It was all covers, Doobie Brothers, Allman Brothers, Led Zeppelin, and I had an acoustic set and an electric set, and it was just me. And I had worked on these songs for months and months and months. And all of a sudden, when I had an audience, the same thing happened. Like my voice kind of choked up from nerves, and notes that I had no problem hitting the day before, the week before, the month before. All of a sudden, it was a problem.
yeah.
And honestly, I listened to an audio of that the next day, and I stopped singing for 20 years and decided I was going to focus on guitar.
I had Tim Taylor.
I don't.
He's the radio host local around this area,
Okay.
or KGON, and he plays guitar. And we were talking one day, and he ran into my video of me doing that live BB King, and I singing, and I don't like to listen to my old videos. I don't like doing it. And he was like, it was the best thing. He says, now I got to get you on stage a little bit more, because he liked it. Now I don't know how, but
Well, we're all so self-critical.
yeah.
You know what you intend to do, and if you don't do it,
Yeah.
Most of the audience doesn't know. They just know what they're hearing. They don't know what you rehearsed. So yeah, everybody goes through it. It's a common denominator with part of the job, being in the business. But and even guys that have been doing it forever. When I was working with Jeff Beck, I mean, mic drop, right?
Yeah.
There were nights that he was super nervous. And I remember he came off stage one time before we went on for the encore, and he goes, "Oh, I'm playing like a wanker." And I listened to the same show he listened to, but it's all perception. You can play the same notes from one night to the other, and things can be off. You're not hearing things right. Your body chemistry is off. It's a full moon. There's so many variables.
You get into your own head.
Yeah.
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 Somebody says people that say public speaking is the scariest have never tried public singing. So that's what Greg Denson said. So yeah, that's kind of funny. Comments in here. We've got some comments in here. Aaron Short. He says, "Hi, buddy. Thanks for all I do." Okay. Hey, Jennifer. Aaron Short Music. He's a friend of mine from New York. Really good one man show, and he sings good, plays good. He's a great guy. And then we've got Tessie Switch in here and some other people. But what would you say the skill level is for doing this symposium? Would it be beginner to intermediate? Would it be everybody?
It would be ideal if somebody at least knows the names of the strings, some basic chords, and a pentatonic scale. We talked about this because I thought this would be the very first question that people would talk about, is what level do I need to be at? And I'm sure the people that we get are going to be at all levels, and they'll get different things from different modules. Definitely some of the stuff I'm teaching, a beginner can learn a lot from. And Gretchen kind of designed her modules for not ranked beginners, but beginners can get something from each of the modules that we're doing. So yeah, anybody that's enthusiastic that wants to know about different techniques, and performance psychology is something that any beginner, any medium level or even high level people that are out there playing, you always run into situations that are just a little overwhelming. So Nili has really tackled this and has something to say about it.
So with this symposium, uh, will the people who pay to be part of it, will they get to watch it over and over again? How does that work?
No, no, we discussed that too. And there's an energy to live where you have to be there, you have to focus. We are there for you for the Q&As. And there's kind of a thing where if you think you can get it afterwards, just like a DVD that you buy for $20, it's just not the same energy.
Right.
So at this time, we're not going to do that. We will have plenty of PDFs, and I'm making videos just because it's easier for me to not write things out and just show it to you. But, you know, although I will be screen capturing everything, I'm just doing it so we can look at our own stuff back for the future. I forgot to say also, we have amazing sponsors on board, 13 sponsors.
Yeah, let's go through them because I think that's good. You know, people who support, especially during these tough times, these companies should get supported back if they're going to support this kind of a venture. Then it really is good to know who they are and to be able to support them back.
Yeah, I was actually blown away, all the people that stepped up. I'll start with Audix company that's local here. I had never heard of them before, but then I live under a rock. So I was doing a gig last summer and my band was using in-ear monitors, which I don't love for guitar. I just kind of suffer through it. And one day it sounded way better than normal. And so I asked the sound guy, what are you using? And he said it was an Audix i5 mic on my cab. And I immediately got one. I couldn't not. And now I have two that I take everywhere in case something goes down with the first one, right? And they stepped up and they're giving away an i5 mic and also one of their cab grabbers, the device that hooks onto your cab for a mic placement onto the speaker. So it's kind of a stealth device so you don't have to be tripping over the tripod stand that normally holds a mic, which I've tripped over many times. If you got a smaller stage, it's like, God damn it, this thing is in my way. The Fishman Company, they were the first people to jump on board, and I bought their MIDI system, the Fishman MIDI triple play, or wireless MIDI triple play system years ago. And I had given up on guitar synth. The last time I used it was when I was with Jeff Beck, and at that time, you had to haul so much crap around the world. It was, I had 3 JV 1080s from Roland for sounds, and then the MIDI switcher and the 13-pin cable and the Roland pickup and that whole nightmare. And there's just no way, since 99% of my gigs were traveling, that I could take that and my guitar gear. And all of a sudden, Fishman comes up with this thing where all the sounds are in a laptop. And I take a laptop with me everywhere anyway. So that's a plus. It's way faster triggering than it was back then.
Yeah.
When I was playing with Jeff, the lag time was such that I could comp and have these lush chords behind him, but as far as soloing with those sounds, I wouldn't dare. It just sucked. But now you can. Blue Guitar Amp 1 is a company. I was their first customer. I ended up at Thomas Blug's house in Germany. I was hanging out with a friend of mine in the north of France, and he goes, "Hey, Thomas is right across the border. Let's go over tomorrow." So we did. I walked in his apartment. He put his guitar in my hand and had me play through his prototype Amp 1. And I go, "Dude, I want." And I was tortured for at least 6 months because it was a prototype. He didn't have them manufactured yet. And I've been using it ever since. It's a 100-watt. Basically, what he was going for was a vintage 100-watt Marshall, 4 channels, MIDI capable, and tube driven. And I put that in my carry-on. So I have a 100-watt head in my carry-on everywhere I go. And it just improved my sound so much because when I traveled, I was using, I used a ton of different things over the years, but the last thing I used before that was a Digitech RP1000. And although I loved the effects in there, I didn't love the models. I just tolerated them because I could take
I
them
didn't
with.
like them much either, but
Yeah, it really depends what you're running it through. I tried all kinds of different things, like the Palmer speaker emulator, and there were certain models that sounded pretty good. But with a processor like that, you couldn't roll back on the volume and clean it up. It would just turn into poop. So all of a sudden, I have that ability again, and I'm hearing frequencies that were kind of squished before. So anyway, I love it, and they're giving away an amp, which is $800 value.
wow.
So that's huge. And also, Luna Guitar is giving away their Vista Eagle model, which is absolutely gorgeous. The inlay on the front is, I kind of want it, but one of the students will get it. Tonewood amp, that's a kind of a revolutionary amp for acoustic guitar. They're giving all the students a $25 discount on that. The Transcribe app, which I'm doing a module on, they've supported in a big way. G7th Capos they're making 6 custom engraved capos that say Guitar Cloud and Symposium on them, which is kind of over the top, you know? I mean, I wouldn't have expected that. I've been with the Lockett strap company for 5-6 years now, and it's super cool because you don't need extra hardware. You don't need to drill out your guitar or anything. It's a spring lock. So you just open up the spring, put it over the horn pin, I guess you would call it, and let go, and your guitar is secure. So every student
goes down over the top and just holds it. Let's show us.
Yeah, the smartest thing to do. So this one's, God, it's kind of blurry. Let me put it there. Put it in my face where it's in focus. So you just pull that back, and it opens up the slot, and then you let go, and it's locked in there. Yeah, I dig them. I have several of them
every day.
Yeah, and every student is going to get one of their straps, which is super cool. The Tatrix company makes gobos for recording that are modular. So you could get pieces that are big enough for a guitar amp, so it's dead quiet, or a drum set. They make vocal booths that are in a lot of colleges. It's invented by a woman named Tay Hoyle that she designed the John Lennon tour buses, the educational buses. And she's just one of these Einstein brainiacs that sits there and designs all the time, you know. David Wallerman, are you hip to him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. He's got a very popular YouTube channel, and he's helped us out. And then last but not least, at truefire.com, I've got 3 courses with them. Vicki has 7, I think. They are giving a free 90-day all access to all of their courses, whether it's Robin Ford, Steve Vai, I think Steve Morse is in there. I'm not sure. But there's some heavyweights in there. So it's like a kid in a candy store. You get to 3 months just see anything that you want to see in there. And they hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of courses on every aspect of music you can imagine for guitar.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Anybody else? Any other?
That's 13 right there.
Well, it's real.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. I totally missed. It's right in my face. Sweetwater.com.
Sweetwater. Okay.
Yeah. They've helped us out. Which, you know, again, I had no idea. I just threw an email out, and they jumped on board. And I love that company, not just because they send you candy with everything that you order, but they have great customer service. It's like the only company I ever order anything from that will call me back and say, are you happy with your gear? Do you need help with it? And I never pick up the phone. I never answer it. But just the fact that they do that is above and beyond any other retailer.
Yeah, they're really, really good. In fact, I've modeled, you know, we do the Gear by Seba stuff, and we make these protective gear and screen guards and all this. And I've been sending candy out because of Sweetwater. So.
Well, you know what? It's a really touch, and it's something that people don't expect, at least in the beginning. Now I want my damn Tootsie Roll, but
I got an order from Sweetwater with no candy, and I was a bit disappointed.
I bet if you called them up, they would send you 5 packs.
Probably.
Somebody would be fired.
Yeah. Well, any final parting words? Anything you'd like to say?
I just hope people will come and join us. If you can't make it this time, we'll probably do it again in October, and we'll be morphing it to see what people like, what people don't like, and it's a very one-of-a-kind thing.
Right.
You know, it's not like just order a DVD, you're on your own. We're there to walk you through each of the modules.
Well, and that's, I think, the unique part of it being a one-time scenario where you have right now to do this. Come on and join in right now, because you're not going to be able to watch it later. It's get the best out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So come on. And especially during lockdown, what else you got to do? You got to be sick of Netflix by now.
Let's see. Somebody says, can we get a link to the 90-day thing? Well, you have to come to the class to get the 90-day free thing. So it does look like the people who become who come to the class, they're going to get some free stuff. So
absolutely. Plus, all of us that are teaching are given links to all of our CDs. So it's a hell of a lot that you get for your money.
Yeah.
That's what Elvis says. Oh, yeah. It's just time.
So, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming, and go ahead and stay on while I say goodbye, and then we'll have some parting words after we're off. But I'll just thank you for being here, and thank you everybody for coming, and go to guitarcloudsymposium.com and join Jennifer this next weekend. So do it now. Go out and do that right now. Thank you. End broadcast.